Shalom, Yasha'Allah, Shalom. First and foremost, we're going to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Wachak, Wadash, Barakatah Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Barakatah Yasha'Allah, Barakatah Yehuda. We're going to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who teach and will well, who are overseeing the construction of the tabernacle of David, a more perfect tabernacle. Shalom to the Akim, Wa'akwaf, scattered abroad. Shalom to the sincere members of the elect of the nation of Yasharallah, who have been quickened in these last days to stand upon their feet and bear witness to the words of truth. We're going to start off Micah 2:1. It says, "Woe to them that devise iniquity," man. Woe being death and destruction on a mass scale to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds, man. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hands, man. And that goes into, like it says, I believe it's Psalms 83, man, the secret counsel of the wicked, man. When the world is asleep, man, they're up, planning, plotting, and they're think tanks, man, thinking about different ways to forward their wickedness, man. Ultimately thinking about putting in that work to fulfill the will of Yahweh Bashmal on the left-hand side, man. See, what people don't understand, people have this I live that quote-unquote live in a box mentality where they feel like just because what's going on in their small little corner of the world is the same thing that's going on all over the world. No, man. There are forces working behind the scenes, man, behind all this stuff that's going on planet Earth, man, that's being influenced by the spirit and power of Yahweh Shemel Shah on the left-hand side, man. And it says in verse 2, and here's going to be the laying the foundation for the lesson that we're going to go into. It says, "And they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man in his house, even a man in his heritage," man. These wicked people, man, these Edomites, man. And it's speaking about the Edomites because of various scriptures. Job 9:24, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked, man, and they cover the faces of the judges thereof. Well, look who's in 2nd Ezra, the 6th chapter, man. Esau is the end of the world. Jacob is the beginning of it that falleth, man. Esau is in power right now, and what? They have a long history of stealing, killing, and destroying, man. Their blessing was what? That they shall live by their sword, man, and they have lived up. They have fulfilled that portion, man. Every nation that they have conquered since they came as that leopard, man, that Greek empire. Every place they have went, they have brought death and destruction, man, because that's the only way they can live. That's the only way they can survive is by their sword, man. And now what I want to key in on is what? And they take them away, so they oppress a man in his house, even a man in his heritage, man. Because physical is just one aspect of the destruction that Esau Edom has brought, man. They have also done a very mass indoctrination of the people through the subversion of certain knowledge, through the teaching of doctrines, the teaching of ideologies, the vernacular, the terminology, man. Esau Edom has what, man? He has cast a covering over the whole earth, man, a spirit of ignorance, man. Isaiah 25:7. "And he will destroy in this mountain the face of the covering cast over all people, and the veil that is spread over all nations," man. And what is a veil? Ultimately, the scripture is talking about ignorance, but it's using adjectives to describe how deep the ignorance goes, man.
Strong's H, 4541. Masecha. Masecha.
It says a pouring libation, molten metal, cast image, drink offering, libation with covenant sacrifice, molten metal, molten image, molten gods, web covering, veil woven stuff. And that is double fold because Esau Edom has done. They have set up idols for Jacob to worship, man. The Israelites, the 12 tribes, they have set up idols, different philosophies, and they've also set up what, man? Uh, uh, Different types of perverse and forward doctrines, man. And it's what it says, the covering is cast over all people, man. And that's important to understand as we're going to keep going forward in the lesson, because ultimately, man, Esau Edom, is easy to prove that Esau Edom, the so-called white man, is in rulership, and he is the wicked that the Bible speaks of, because of the fact that what, man? Esau Edom controls everything. They control what you learn, when you learn it, how you learn it. Who the majority of these textbooks are written by Edomites, man. Or if they're not Edomites, they were influenced by Edomites or brought up in the Edomite education system. You eat what the Edomites want you to eat. You wear what the Edomites want you to wear. You work where the Edomites want you to work. Your whole everything about your life is controlled by the wicked, man. You know what I'm saying? Through the spirit and power, how about Shemal Shai on the left-hand side. Now I'm gonna grab one more scripture, and then we're gonna jump into what I want to talk about today. Jeremiah 51:7 says, Babylon have been a golden cup in Yahweh Shemaiah's hand, that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken her wine, therefore the nations are mad, man. All these nations, including the nation Israel, man, have partaken in the philosophies, the ideologies, the terminology, the vernacular of Esau Edom, man, their so-called education system, man. Every nation has done it, man. And that's why what? Ultimately, all these nations are destroyed, man. Because you have learned the ways of wickedness. And it says education, child rearing, also the training of animals. It says rearing, training, a systematic schooling and training for work, man. And that's important because, like it says, a systematic. What does it mean systematic when things are done systematically, man? Through a certain process, a certain procedure, step by step, a methodology, man, of schooling or training for work, man. Everything you learn here in Babylon the Great is to do what? How to serve Esau Edom. So now that we kind of laid the foundation of that, I want to talk about the Library of Alexandria, which was a very, very very, very important thing, man. The Library of Alexandria. So it says the Library of Alexandria, the most famous library of classical antiquity, man. Meaning what? Ancient times, man. It was the most famous. It was the biggest. Let's get that. No, I just want Google. Thank you. What is a library? It says library. It says place for books. From Latin bookcase, chest for books, a bookseller shop. Now uses of concerning books. Meaning what, man? Just talking about books, and in books is what? Knowledge, man. Different knowledges, man. Cause all ancient civilizations, all ancient people groups, man, that's descended from Shem, Ham, and Japheth, they had their own. You know what I'm saying? Most they had. Hey, all civilizations had philosophies. They had written text, oral text. You know what I'm saying? They had their own writing system, their own way of communicating, man. Whether if they didn't write these things down, it was passed down orally, man. All civilizations had that. But here we have the Library of Alexandria. It says the most famous library of a classical antiquity. It formed part of the research institute at Alexandria in Egypt that is known as the Alexandria Museum. And it says libraries and archives were known to many ancient civilizations in ancient Mesopotamia, Syria, Asia Minor, and Greece, but the earliest such institutions were of a local and regional nature. Going again to what I just said, all civilizations, all quote unquote city states, countries, however we want to label it, they had their own written text. They had their own education system, quote unquote education system, for lack of a better terminology, man. It says, but the earliest such institutions were of a local and regional nature, primarily concerned with the conservation of their own particular traditions and heritage, like I just said, man. And this is where Micah 2:1 is going to start to come into effect, man. It says the idea of a universal library, and what does it mean to be universal? Uni meaning one. Universal pertaining to the whole of something specified, occurring everywhere, man. Altogether, whole, entire. A universal, hey, straight to the point, and that's the philosophy of Esau Edom, man. They want everybody to be one. They want what? A new world order, a one world, government, man. One world economy. What's the word? A universal income, man. It says the idea of a universal library like that of Alexandria arose what? Only after the Greek mind had begun to envisage and encompass a larger world view, man. The Greeks were impressed by the achievements of their neighbors, and many Greek intellectuals sought to explore the resources of their knowledge, man. And that's important to understand, man. This is happening when the Edomites first started to come into power, man. Through what? Alexander the Greek, man. And going, continue with the idea of universal, we're going to pull up a scripture in the Apocrypha. Because the Greeks, through the spring probably Habal Shemel Shah, to fulfill prophecy, man, Alexander the Greek, man, he basically conquered the known world at that time, man. Which back in that time, the world was known as a three-part world, man. You know, you had the continent of Asia, Africa, and what is known today as Europe, man. The Americas, although nations traveled to the Americas, it wasn't largely populated until the tribes, the 10 tribes in Northern Kingdom came here to sojourn here. But this is First Maccabees 1:1, and it happened after that. Alexander, son of Philip, the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Shittim, had smitten Darius, king of the Persians and Medes, that he reigned in his stead the first over Greeks, man, over Greece. So it happened that once Alexander the Greek, you know what I'm saying, once they were allowed to conquer the known world, man, and basically knock off the world that made the hegemony of that time, man, the leading world power, that what? Verse 2, it made many wars and won many strongholds and slew the kings of the earth, man, all of them. And through to the ends of the earth, man, the three-part world, and took spoils of many nations, insomuch that the earth was quiet before him, whereupon he was exalted and his heart was lifted up, man. Alexander the Great conquered the whole known world at that time, man. And it said, and took spoils of many nations, man. And that includes, the spoils includes your women, your money, your resources, and what? Your knowledge, man. So going back to the Alexandria Library, it says, there is literary evidence of Greek individuals visiting Egypt, especially to acquire knowledge, blah, 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 Plato, blah, blah, blah. It says, against the background of avid hunger for knowledge among the Greeks, Alexander launched his global enterprise in 334 BCE, which he accomplished with metric speed until his untimely death in 323 BCE. His aim throughout had not been restricted to conquering lands as far as from Macedonia as India, but had been to also explore them. He required his companions, journals, and scholars to report to him in detail on regions previously unmapped and uncharted, His campaigns resulted in a considerable addition of empirical knowledge of geography, as Eratosthenes Salaki remarked, as reported by Greek geographer Strabo. The reports that Alexander had required survived after his death, and they motivated an unprecedented movement of scientific research and study of the earth, its natural physical qualities and inhabitants. The time was pregnant with a new spirit that engendered a renaissance of human culture. It was in that atmosphere that the great library and museum saw the light of day in Alexandria. The founding of the library and the museum is unquestionably connected with the name of Demetrius of Phaleron, a member of the peripatetic school and a former Athenian politician. After his fall from power in Athens, Demetrius sought refuge at the court of King Ptolemy I Soter, another name mentioned in the scriptures, man. And First Maccabees, one of the generals that followed Alexander and became the king's advisor. Ptolemy soon took advantage of Demetrius's wide and versatile knowledge, and about 295 BCE charged him with the task of founding the library and the Museum. I just wish they would get to what I want, man. Here we go. It says, the same claim was reiterated more than once. Irenaeus spoke of Ptolemy's desire to what? Equip his library with the writings of all men as far as they were worth serious attention, man. All men, all nations, man. And that's what happened, man. Throughout any known civilization, if you were conquered by a civilization, your knowledge, your history was then amalgamated into their empire, man. That's how certain nations, they learned the astrology of the quote-unquote Muslims, learned the mathematics of certain, you know what I'm saying? Hey, it's well documented that if you, if a nation conquered you and they liked what you had going on, they would take it upon themselves. Hey, the Romans were well known for that, man. Taking conquering a nation, amalgamating certain parts, certain military tactics that a nation used into their military, amalgamating certain knowledge of creation of aqueducts and all that type of things, man. And that's important because that even happened with the Israelites, man. With what the creation of something known as the Greek Septuagint, man. What a lot of people don't really understand is the Greek Septuagint was one of the manuscripts which during the translation of the King James Bible, King James commissioned the scholars to translate the Bible from the ancient languages into the Old English. They used the Greek Septuagint, the Masoretic text, and the Textus Receptus, man. But the overall big point that I want to get to, man, you know what I'm saying, that like I said, he wanted to equip the library with his library with the writings of all men, you know what I'm saying? And that's what they accomplished, man. But when the library burned down, so let's see once we get there. Let's see. But here's an interesting fact. It says estimates of the total number of books in the library vary. The earliest surviving figure from the 3rd century is reported as more than 200,000 books, man. And that's a lot of knowledge, man. A lot of history, a lot of understanding of things that were going on in that third part world, man. A lot of different things, man. And I just where okay. So eventually, you know what I'm saying, the library burns down, and with the library burning down, what, man? All that history is lost, man. And that's, again, man, Esau Edom, man, control. He's been able to control knowledge, man. Control what you know, what you don't know, man. Because let's say a lot of that information, if a lot of that information would survive to this day, man, there would be a whole different understanding of geopolitical events internationally, man, across history, man. If a lot of that knowledge would have survived to today, man, there would be a whole different understanding of a whole different world view, a whole understanding of history, man. And that's pretty much make a long lesson as condensed and summarized as it needs to be, man. You know what I'm saying? Hey, that the ideal of that library, it just shows you. It shows that's one of the characteristics of Esau Edom, man. What the scripture say in Habakkuk. Let's get that. Habakkuk chapter 2 and 4. Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith, man. Yet also because he transgressed by wine. Hey, again, man, that wine, man, that philosophy, his quote unquote education. He is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as death, man. And the book of Proverbs tell us that what? Death and hell can never be full. Let's get that. Let's just get it. Then we'll jump back. Proverbs 27:20. Hell and destruction are never full, so the eyes of men are never satisfied, man. Hey, these wicked Edomites, man, these 2/3, these heathens, man. Nothing is gonna ever be enough for them, man. And you see that with, you know what I'm saying? This is the example with Alexander the Great, man. He conquered the world, and then he conquered the world, and then the Greeks were still not satisfied with that, man. Habakkuk 2 and 5. Yet also because he transgressed by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire is hell, in as death, and what and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations and heapeth unto him all people. And he does that with what, man? That melting pot ideology, but also too, man, by taking upon their knowledge, man. That's why what? Babylon, that's why this place is called Babylon the Great, man. Because it's a mixture of everything. A mixture of Rome, Greek, Babylon, Assyria, Egypt. You know what I'm saying? It's a mixture of all those things, man. An amalgamation of all that knowledge, man. Quote unquote knowledge, man. Air quotes. Because the scriptures tell us in Sirach 19 that the knowledge of wickedness is not knowledge, is not wisdom. You know what I'm saying? Roughly paraphrasing. But yeah, like I said, man, to make a long story short, man, just again, it shows you, man, how Esau Edom operates, man, because the shackles that were once physical are now mentally and spiritual, man. Esau Edom has been able to indoctrinate Jake, man, and basically make him swallow down that wine. And Jake is drunk, man. Jake doesn't have a full grasp of what's going on, and hey, man. The scriptures say that they'll be blind until the cities are wasted without an inhabitant, man. So that was just a quick little history lesson. And brothers should, you know what I'm saying, go into that and continue to read that article about the Library of Alexandria, because that was a big part of that world back then, man. All any scholar that was anybody would go there, man. You know what I'm saying? They had it all going on. And just to make a quick point, man, that's what, if any brother watched, you know, Avatar: The Last Airbender, I forgot that little owl spirit, man, that was supposed to be a representation of the Library of Alexandria, man. Just that whole scenario that they were going through. We're going to close it out, man. This is Ecclesiastes 12 and 13. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Free Yahweh Shemi Ashai and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. For Yahweh Shemi Ashai shall make every work into judgment with every secret thing, whether it be good, whether it be evil. With that being said, hallelujah.